April 2023 by the International Society for Civil Liberties, 52,250 Nigerians had died simply for the sin of being a Christian. Within the same time period, between 1999 and 2003, not less than 18,000 churches has been burnt. For starters, we need to understand that Nigeria is a secular state, but it has four main religions. We have the Christians, the Muslims, we have the paganists or the traditionalists, and we also have atheists. But one group constantly faces persecution, that is Christians, by those that are adherents of the religion of peace, whatever that means. Nigeria is a product of amalgamation of northern and southern protectorates of the Niger area. The north predominantly being Muslim states, the south predominantly being Christian. But that does not mean we do not have a large population of Christians. In the north, the northern protectorate has 19 states, with Abuja, which is the state capital of the country, 20 states. Of these 20 states, 12 of them practice the Sharia law. Before the advent of democracy in 1999, Christian persecution had started in the early 80s or late 70s if you will. A group called Matisene rose up and they started killing Christians for their faith. And the government at the time did not allow this to fester on because they were able to chase down that group, kill their leader, and kill as many as possible. And then the group phased out. Fast forward to year 2009, the group Boko Haram came up, and this group unleashed mayhem upon the Christian population of the country. This group killed so many Christians. Not a little further down the line, a splinter group came up known as the ISWAP, that is affiliated to ISIS. This group also unleashed mayhem upon the Christian population. Another group of persons unleashing mayhem even till this day is the Fulani militant group, Fulani Elders, as some will say. Not long ago, they bombed a church at Owo, Ondo State, killing several persons. And yes, one more group, Islamic radicals. This group have been unleashing mayhem upon Christians since the early 1980s. I wouldn't love to point fingers, but the divide along religious lines actually started during the reign of President Babangida. He paid lip service to Christian persecution during his time, and this festered. In the 1980s, a serious outbreak occurred between the Christians and Muslims of Kafanchan, and this led to the loss of several lives as well as properties. The Muslims went on to destroying government properties with the claims that these are legacies of Western civilizations, which is anti-Islam. Although direct conflict was far and few between, but there were these tendencies as these groups tend to radicalize as time went by. Then in 1989, in that same Kafanchan, Kaduna State College of Education, the Muslim group and Christian student group in that campus had a big scuffle. The Fellowship of Christian Students and the Muslim Student Societies were at loggerheads, simply because the Fellowship of Christian Students were organizing campaigns within the campus, and the Muslims were asking why would they be the only ones organizing campaigns. I wonder why that should be a problem. But it became a problem that the Muslims protested around the city of Kafanchan. Eventually, a church got burnt within the campus. On the 9th of March in that same year, the Christians retaliated and 2 persons lost their lives and several mosques got burnt within the campus. Fast forward, or let us date back to 1982 in Kano, when a group of Islamic zealots showed their strength in restraining the church from expansion. The Anglican House Church had been in that area for 40 years before a nearby mosque was built, but they stopped the church from building an extension because they felt it was going to impede the growth of the mosque. Would you believe if I tell you that Nigeria accounts for 89% of Christian persecutions around the world? Nigeria alone accounts for 89%. Of the 5,621 that died in 2023 as a result of persecution, 5,021 and 14 of those actually are from Nigeria. Isn't that crazy? Like I said earlier, Nigeria is supposed to be a secular state, but when you look at some of our national logos, you find out that we have Islamic inscriptions on this, on our naira, on the logo of the Nigerian Armed Forces, and some other places, some other things like that. We have the Islamic inscription written on it. In a country where we have as much Christians as Muslims, if not more Christians than Muslims, because to be frank, Christianity is growing at a very fast pace in Nigeria. Nigeria is a strong member of the Organization of Islamic Countries, OIC. That's an anomaly for a secular state. It is inexcusable, really, but you could say that Boko Haram, the ISWAP, and the Matasini that wars in the early 1980s were actually terrorist groups, and yes, government had to fight these groups head-on. What do we say of Muslim extremists in the streets? So many people have lost their lives to such violence in the streets that they now even use the lie of blasphemy to kill whosoever they will without cause. So as it stands, I can come out tomorrow and claim that somebody has blasphemed. Without listening to that person, he will be dead. So pathetic. I'll give you several instances. In June 2022, a prostitute known as Anna was killed in Lagos simply because she had a Quran in her room. Now, what was the story? A man came in to have sex with her and gave her 1,000 naira. When he left, the prostitute discovered that her 5,000 naira is missing, and she ran afterwards to meet the man to accuse her of stealing her 5,000 naira. So that people that were with the man now said they should come and check her room to be sure that that 5,000 naira was missing. While checking, they found a Quran under her pillow. And as a result, they questioned why the Quran will be in a room where prostitution is taking place. For that reason, they killed her and burned her corpse. Yes, thank God it happened in Lagos State, so the Lagos State government would arrest these people and they were taken to court. I believe they are still facing trial. The words of those that happened in the north. In what was supposed to be her last day at work, March 21, 2007, Christiana Oluwasesin invigilated a class for examination. Usually, when exam is about taking place in Nigeria, every student will be asked to take out anything that could lead to examination malpractice outside. And when they are done and submit their papers, their items will be returned back to them. So, in the course of carrying out her duties, she picked a bag from one of her female students and threw it in front of the class. Before we know it, the girl started crying, and she told her colleagues that a Quran was in that bag, or a book that had Arabic inscriptions was in that bag that she threw out. And voila, everywhere became riotic. In a class where we have 12 to 14-year-old students, she had to run for her life. The principal and other teachers could not save her because before we could say Jack Robinson, mobs had gathered from outside, came into the school, started destroying the school, and that woman lost her life on the very last day of work at Federal Government College, Gombe. Such a pathetic story. Until date, nobody has been arrested for that crime. In the next few years, some persons will come up to say they will defend the Constitution, they will be defending lives and properties of their citizens, yet they were involved in the killing of an innocent teacher. Such is life. Or should we now talk of Gideon Akaluka that was killed on the 26th of December 1994 in Kano? He was accused of using the Quran as toilet paper. Not him, his wife was accused of using the Quran as toilet paper. He was taken to court and remanded in prison because they said that is the only way he could be protected. Yet, a group of Wahhabists, led by 9 persons, broke into the prison and took Gideon out of prison, beheaded him. The next day, they paraded his head on a long pole in the streets of Kano. I tell you what, till date, nobody has been arrested for that crime. Now, there are words here and there that out of those 9 Wahhabists, the government of General Sani Abacha actually executed 8, relieving just 1 behind. And that one that was left behind is said to be the person of the deposed king of Kano. Sanusi, Lamido Sanusi, who also happens to be the former MD of First Bank of Nigeria and the former governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria. That man is still walking the streets today. I had to go on Google to see where he denied such claims, to see where he said he was not involved in such claims, and I found none. So for that man to be having accused from that time till now, yet no debunks from him, actually shows he was a part of that incident. Except, of course, he comes out tomorrow to say he was not a part of it. And I'm using this opportunity to call on the government of the day to persecute him for the murder of that young trader, Gideon Akaluka. Nobody is above the Nigerian law. Everybody should live within the confines of the Nigerian law. More popular is the death of Deborah Samuel, simply saying, do not post religious nonsense on our WhatsApp group that is meant for assignments. Our fellow students, the same students that they will greet in the morning, gist in the afternoon, do assignments together at night, rose up against her, killed her in broad daylight and burnt her corpse. Till date, not a single person has been arrested for it. Till date, the Niger State government has not demanded for the killers of our citizens. Till date, the Sokoto State government has not come out to say this is the killer of Samuel that was killed within their territory. Nothing of such. So would this not fester? I tell you what, presidential hopeful Atiku Abubakar also condemned the killing of Deborah Samuel, putting out a tweet, but it was taken down moments later after it seemed to have been threatened that his presidential ambition is hanging on a balance. Later up, he came up to say that because the tweet does not bear his signature, that tweet was not sanctioned by him, and that was why he put down the tweet. A Sokoto State government official known as Anas Mohammed Sani also threatened that more Christians in Nigeria will be murdered if they say things considered disrespectful to their revered Prophet Muhammad. Muslims don't take insults against their beloved Prophet in whatever form, he said. Isn't that crazy? I also tell you that Professor Sheikh Ibrahim Makari, who is an active member of the Assembly of Muslims in Nigeria and the Supreme Muslim Council for Islamic Affairs, an educationist, a professor for that matter, said that Christians should not cross the red line of Islam. He justified the murder of Deborah Samuel and blamed her for crossing the red lines of Islamic faith. He said it should be known to everyone that we Muslims have some red lines beyond which must not be crossed. The dignity of the Prophet is at the forefront of these red lines. If our grievances are not properly addressed, then we should not be criticized for addressing them ourselves, in a statement he posted on his Twitter account. That is an educationist, a professor at that. In the case of Sanusi, one Isa Muhammad Inuwa, a correspondent of Deutsche Welle in Kano, wrote, "Whoever dared to condemn Mr. Sanusi when sometimes in the early 1990s he lodged in Sudan as a foreign student from where he might have imbibed his Sufi apologist and quasi-Shiite creeds, the one that he jumped upon with Western Orientalist ideologies to emerge with this his confused mindset that haunts everybody here. Or why else among the Muslim brothers are dubbed Mr. Sanusi a fanatic or a fundamentalist when he was arrested and imprisoned at the wake of Kano religious upheaval in 1995 following the beheading of one Gideon Akaluka for his blasphemy of using the Quranic scripts as toilet papers. Is there a way out of this? Yes, the government needs to wake up to its responsibilities. For instance, how can we have our constitution and then a certain state will now be using Sharia laws to govern their state when there are Christians in that state? Because there's no state in the north that is 100% an Islamic state. This is one of the failures of President Olusegun Obasanjo. He ought to have dealt with that decisively. It ought not to have happened. He should never have allowed it. Allowing such meant that the Christian population in those states are meant to suffer persecution. But that is not just that. the leaders in these places are also apologists to this movement. For instance, when Sanusi was pardoned, it was said that it was one Malam Murtala that pleaded on his behalf. He was also a highly placed man in the society. Until date, these people are all sympathetic to the Islamic cause of jihad. When you see Muslims kill each other, it is simply because they believe one set of persons and not following truly the dictates of Islam. For instance, in a mosque in southwest Nigeria, where the chief imam is a Yoruba man, and Hausa will never pray there because they believe that the Yoruba Muslims are not Muslims enough. They will never pray in a mosque where a Yoruba is an imam. It's crazy, isn't it? Let me have your thoughts in the comment section. Do you have Christian persecution in your place as well? Let us share your experience with us. Like this video and please click on the subscribe button if you have not yet done so. Help us reach a target of 1,000 subscribers. Thank you.